In one of the biggest games of the year, the Rams defeat the Seahawks 21-19. They grab control of the NFC West, two of the best teams in the NFC, duking it out today in a game we all had circled to see where they stood up, because I think different people had different opinions on these teams. A lot of people, like myself, really loved the Rams and maybe wanted to see a little bit more from the Seahawks. Other people were all in on the Seahawks, were buying everything they saw, thought they would go in and take care of business against the Rams, especially considering how good Seattle's been on the road this year. The story of the game is Sam Darnold regressing and doing what Sam Darnold does. He throws 4 interceptions. They end up losing the game despite the defense playing terrific. The prompt I wanted to bring up, does this give you pause with Seattle? If you were believing in the Seahawks and you thought, if you were even a Seahawks fan or just a casual observer and you believed in them, thought they were a legit NFC threat, if not the best team in the NFC, does this game worry you at all? Or do you think it's kind of a one-off? For me, this is exactly what I've been worried about all season. This is why when we're talking about storylines throughout the year, when we're judging where teams stand, I always in the back of my mind think, can I see that quarterback winning a Super Bowl? Like when we're talking about teams' aspirations, especially Seattle, like obviously they have Super Bowl hopes this year. And I just can't see Sam Darnold hoisting a Lombardi trophy, at least not this year. I'm not saying things couldn't change, but I wasn't able to shake how Sam Darnold looked in those final 2 games last season when he was with the Vikings, against the Rams, against the Lions. He looked absolutely terrible in those games. And I was just of the opinion that would come out eventually. It's kind of the similar situation with Daniel Jones. It's like, I think you can cover it up to an extent. Eventually it comes out. The difference is Sam Darnold, when he doesn't have those bad games, he is fantastic. And even in those bad games like today with the 4 interceptions, he makes a lot of incredible plays. Like his natural gifts, his ability is on display constantly. You see why he's a high draft pick, a valued prospect, because he has all of the traits. The problem he has, and maybe the problem he's always had, when you pressure him, when you start to get him flustered and things start going awry, he starts to spiral. It's not quite the same situation as it is with Jared Goff, because we know Jared Goff is a very pocket quarterback. He's not mobile. So when you get pressure and you start hitting him, he falls apart. Darnold's a little bit different because he can move. He is athletic. He can move up in the pocket, outside the pocket, and make plays. I think his problem almost becomes more mental because his worst trait is holding on to the ball too long. We saw that particularly in the playoff game last season. He just wouldn't let go of the football. That started to become an issue today, especially on that final 2-minute drive where they're trying to score and win the game. Those bad habits come out when he's getting pressured, when he's getting hit, when he's not having the success he's used to having. It's like he gets in his head. We all know about the seeing ghost thing, but that's kind of been his Achilles heel. That's why I was never going to jump on board and believe he was a Super Bowl quarterback. If it had been 3 years ago when we last saw him kind of collapse, I would be more willing to let it go. But we saw it at the end of last season. I wasn't going to just put that all behind me because he was playing great with the Seahawks now. He has one bad play that leads to 2 to 3 to 4, and then you're stuck in a hole that you're trying to climb out of. Because today, he was rattled. He made a ton of mistakes, the interceptions, but besides those, the final drive, as I said, he's holding the ball too long. Seattle's red zone offense is ultimately what bit them today, because despite how bad Darnold was in the moments, particularly just the turnovers, they really were in a good position. The game shouldn't have been as close as it was with the 4 interceptions. I've got the box score here. As you can see, Seattle, more pass yards, more rush yards, way better on 3rd down. The 4 turnovers are the issue, and right there, red zone. Seattle 1 for 4 in the red zone compared to the Rams, who were 3 for 4. When the Rams got close and had their opportunities, few and far between, though they capitalized on them. Seattle could not. Seattle all game long, despite the interceptions, were moving the football. They constantly, every time you looked up, Seattle had the ball. That's why they outgained them in time of possession by over 15 minutes. Seattle was constantly taking chunk plays, moving down the field, and then they would get to the red zone and they would stall out. And they'd have to settle for 3 or just come away with nothing. That's why 1 for 4 is not what you want. And that's what cost them the game, because the defense played well enough. We know how great this Mike Macdonald defense is. It's really fantastic. He's a great head coach. The defense kept them in this football game. They just kept making stops. They kept limiting Los Angeles, held Stafford down. Like I said, you got 130 pass yards. The defense is elite, and Seattle is a great team. But I'm not going to believe that they're a championship contender, because I obviously can't trust the quarterback in these big moments when things start to go sideways, even though your defense is delivering and having an incredible game to keep them in it. When you think about the 4 turnovers, it just shouldn't be close. Seattle shouldn't have a chance to win it at the end of the game, and they do. Seattle's driving with a chance to win. That shouldn't have been on the board the way this game was playing out. But because of the defense, it was on the board, and Darnold just ultimately couldn't make it happen, mostly because that final punt from the Rams to pin Seattle at the 1-yard line, that kind of won him the game, because without that punt, Seattle probably gets into field goal range. I thought it was a mistake from McVay to pass on that 3rd down. I thought he should have ran it, made Seattle take their final timeout. Instead, they passed. It was incomplete. They punted it to Seattle, who had a timeout, minute 30. But because of the excellent punt, pinning him at the 1, Darnold had his work cut out from him. And at that final drive, you saw, as I mentioned, another bad habit of him holding the ball too long. Even late in that last play where he needed to get it out, get down, and get the timeout. I know no one was open, but man, he really pushed it holding the ball. So Seattle's still a really good team. They still could run the table in the NFC. It wouldn't surprise me. I can't believe that this quarterback's going to hoist a Lombardi when we see how much he breaks down once things start to go sideways. I will give him credit. In other games, like last year when it's happened, he's kind of just been terrible. In this game, he played well outside of the interceptions. Like it didn't continue to go bad every single play. You know, he would move the ball, stall out, interception. Move the ball, stall out, interception. So he didn't just give up. He didn't implode, but it's hard to overcome those interceptions. They almost did. So that just tells you how talented they are. I'm just kind of keeping a watchful eye on them, especially with the Rams taking over the NFC West. They're going to have to play again. No doubt, though, even with all that said, it sounds like I'm being super negative. Just being honest. These are 2 of the best teams in the NFL, even with the Sam Darnold regression thing, and you kind of know that's baked in at this point. But 95% of the time, he's going to be really solid. And clearly that defense is one of the best in the NFL. So they're going to carry you a long way just because of that.